Hi everyone, Greenish Blue here, aka Callum, and this video is going to be a beginner's slide to slapping, or slapping and popping, or thumping, or whatever you'd like to call it. Now, slap bass sort of originated around the time of Larry Graham. It was thought to have said that sort of he invented the style of slap bass. Now, what slap bass is, it sounds something like this. Now, it looks quite complicated, but the fact of the matter is, it's all about technique and practice. Basically, you just got to build it and build it and build it until you get comfortable with slapping, and then you can get very creative with what you do, like some of the stuff that Flea does, and some of the stuff that Marcus Miller does, and people like this. So the very first part of slapping is you've got to be able to first just know how to do it. Now the way you do that, you take your thumb, you do a thumbs up like this, just standing thumbs up like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this part of your thumb here, just around the bone where the joint is. And then with that part of your thumb, we're just going to start by coming down on the E string. I just do a steady beat. And then that's a slap. So once you've done that, you can now officially say you can do slap. Mind you, not very advanced slap, but you can still do slap. Now, where to go after that, you just start experimenting with riffs. Like, if I just do a simple sort of slap riff slowly. Now, all I'm doing there is just using my thumb and doing a series of hammer-ons with ghost notes in between. So it's just... And once you get comfortable with it, you just speed it up, so it's... etc. And then you've just got to get comfortable, just sort of practice doing that on sort of all the strings, experimenting with riffs. So you can sort of almost make a sort of a little composition using slapping and with just using your thumb. And that's basically the very sort of basis of slap. Now what you do after that is you've got to incorporate pulling or popping, as it's commonly known. To do that, you take either your index finger or your middle finger, whichever you feel comfortable. Most people use their index finger. And what we're going to start to do with this is we're going to take the open G string and we're just going to pull up, like that, and then mute it with our hand here. And then the idea is you incorporate both the thumping and the popping to create riffs and slap bass lines, as they're known. Now, the first one I learned was a very simple slap line to get me introduced to like slapping and things like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the 5th fret of the D string, and to start with it we're just going to slap it. After we slap it we're going to hammer onto the E, so we're going to go from the 5th fret to the 7th fret of the D string. So we're going to go, and then we're muting it afterwards, and then simply after that we're just going to pull on the G string. So altogether it sounds like this. And then after you pulled on the G string, you mute it again. And then once you've got that down, you just carry it on. And then you sort of build up speed. And then you start to become comfortable with slapping. It's going to take a while. It took me a very long while to get slapping down. But once you get it down, you can just sort of experiment with hammer-ons and pull-offs, and you can just sort of make some funky riffs and sort of have a bit of fun. I mean, so like... as a slow one, and if you wanted a really fast one, we can take Get Up and Jump by Red Hot Chili Peppers, I guess. So was quite shoddy actually, but that's sort of how it goes. And you can also just do some sort of experimental stuff, which I like to do. Stuff like this. And stuff like that. And then once you start building up, slapping's not about speed, but it is fun to show off a bit sometimes just by going ridiculously fast. And once you start building up your slap techniques and stuff like this, you'll be able to do like... Not needed, but it's fun to do. Well, it might be needed in some cases, I wouldn't know. One thing you do have to remember with slap is, with other musicians, it can annoy them. And you can't write every song using slap bass. There are sort of, it depends what band you're in. Obviously, if you're in a funk band, slap bass might be used quite a bit. But, you know, if you're in a punk or an indie band, you're probably not going to be using slap bass. So this is just merely a guide to a technique which could help you in the future. I hope that's helped. If there's any more questions you have, please feel free to ask, and I'll see if what I can do. Alright, bye-bye.